you can't go in there. This is crazy.
Welcome to Watch Mojo. And today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 haunted houses and movies based on real-life houses.
6 members of the family were found last night in bed, shot, and killed.
For this list, we'll be looking at houses from horror films reported to be actually haunted based on first-hand accounts. Even though some characters called them home, we'll be excluding hotels from this list.
When was the Overlook built?
Construction started in 1907. It's finished in 1909.
Since we'll be mentioning major plot points, a spoiler warning is now in effect. Which house do you find the scariest? Let us know in the comments. Number 10, the Snedeker House, the haunting in Connecticut. In 1986, the Snedeker family rented a home in Southington, Connecticut, and from the first night, Philip Snedeker knew there was something wrong.
Are you all right?
This case inspired several movies, documentaries, books, and TV shows. But the most well-known is The Haunting in Connecticut. Several details of the real case made it into the movie, including that it was a former funeral home, and the family regularly encountered violent entities. Philip really was suffering from cancer, and the family needed to move closer to his treatment clinic. The parts where the film veers off from the truth are the seances, the bodies in the walls, and the fire at the end. Despite elements of sensationalism, we're convinced this house was all kinds of evil. Number 9, the historic Frankfurt House, Girl on the Third Floor. In 2016, film producer Greg Newman purchased a house at 207 Center Road in Frankfort, Illinois, intending to rehab and resell.
Piece of cake. Jesus Christ.
But as he learned more about its lore, he was inspired to make a movie instead. Built in the early 1900s, the house was rumored to have been a bordello where 2 girls tragically died.
Wait, what?
Oh, he didn't tell you? King Don is the proud owner of Portsmouth's former house of ill repute.
Sarah allegedly died of yellow fever in 1909, while 8 years prior, Sadie was murdered. Both girls died in the same third-floor bedroom, where people have reportedly heard a young girl crying. Other ghostly encounters include a girl's giggling, singing, and appearing in the windows. Though the real spirits don't seem to be as violent as the ones in the film, we still wouldn't take our chances. Number 8, the Borley Rectory, The Banishing. In the 1940s, psychic researcher Harry Price dubbed Borley Rectory as the most haunted house in England.
The house in which you now live was built on its ruins.
What are you talking about?
He lived there for a year documenting paranormal phenomena. Allegedly, the rectory had been haunted since it was built in 1862, spawning reports of ringing bells, footsteps, and lights appearing in the windows.
Probably mice. Or rats, no more than that.
You talking about the voices?
What did you hear?
The ghostly nun and the carriage driven by the headless horseman are the real showstoppers, though. It was demolished in 1944, 5 years after it was badly damaged in a fire. The story's revived in The Banishing, which is loosely based on the Foister family who moved into the rectory in October 1930. Though Marianne Foister later admitted to fabricating the paranormal occurrences, and Price was accused of the same, this place still gives off spooky vibes.
This house turns children against their parents, husbands against their wives. This evil lurks in the long shadow of shame.
Number 7, the Lizzie Borden House, Lizzie. Lizzie Borden took an axe she gave her mother. Well, you know the rest.
And you didn't see anyone else enter the house?
No, I did not.
Most are familiar with the infamous crime that spawned this factually inaccurate rhyme. But did you know that the house is supposedly haunted? The Lizzie Borden House is now a bed and breakfast that hosts tours and ghost investigations. You can see the rooms where Abby and Andrew Borden were brutally murdered on August 4th, 1892, complete with crime scene photos.
Bridget, come quick! Somebody's killed Father!
Actress Chloe Sevigny stayed at the house and was inspired to make a movie. Lizzie focuses on her possible relationship with their maid, Bridget. It may be a macabre romance, but Sevigny's performance as the titular accused murderer reminds us that the whole Borden story and the house still give us chills.
Just promise me something. Go right to me. And don't look for me. No.
Number 6. The Carmichael Mansion, The Changeling. In 1969, composer Russell Hunter moved into the house at 1739 East 13th Avenue.
I guess the house was meant to be lived in.
Why hasn't it been lived in?
The Henry Treat Rogers Mansion sat in Cheeseman Park, which itself is said to be haunted since it was built on top of a cemetery. That's right, a cemetery. Hunter began hearing loud banging noises and the walls would shake violently. He found the journal of a 9-year-old boy and uncovered the dark history of its prior residents. If this sounds familiar, it's because Hunter's experiences inspired one of the scariest movies in horror history. Yes, that iconic scene with the red ball really happened to Hunter. Or at least, he says it did. The real mansion has since been torn down, but the Changeling remains a horror staple. Number 5. The Enfield House, The Conjuring 2. The sequel to the wildly successful The Conjuring details the Enfield poltergeist, one of the scariest cases of poltergeist activity in the UK's history, and a case Lorraine Warren admits is the most terrifying of her career.
This is as close to hell as I ever want to get.
From 1977 to 1979, the Hodgson family was tormented by the ghost of Bill Wilkins, the former owner of the home at 284 Green Street. The family reported loud knocking, furniture moving on its own, objects flying all over the house, and the kids repeatedly pulled out of their beds. The film shows it all, but seeing Bill's ghost is definitely the scariest part. In real life, paranormal investigators reported being hit with toys. Yeah, the ghost is terrifying, but getting pelted with Legos is no joke.
Oh, bloody hell. We've had all sorts of things stop working for no reason at all.
Number 4. The Old Arnold Estate, The Conjuring. This iconic house inspired a franchise that now has its own cinematic universe. The Perrin family moved into the Old Arnold Estate in the 1970s, a colonial farmhouse sitting on 200 acres.
There's something horrible happening in my house. Could you come and take a look?
Andrea, the oldest of the 5 Perrin daughters, recounts their frightening experience in her book trilogy, House of Darkness, House of Light. She details how she and her family witnessed both harmless and sinister spirits for 10 years in a portal disguised as a farmhouse. In the film, Bathsheba, a murderous witch from the 1800s, is the most prominent entity in the home, though in real life, her crimes and involvement with the occult are just speculations. The current owners say it's still haunted to this day. Number 3. The Villisca Axe Murder House, The Axe Murders of Villisca. Just after midnight on June 10, 1912, the Moore family and 2 overnight guests were murdered in the small town of Villisca, Iowa. Eight bodies were found in their beds. While the film shows flashes of the 1912 killing, the story itself is centered on teens out for a night of ghost hunting. In the film, Reverend George Kelly is depicted as the killer. In real life, Kelly was the main suspect and was tried twice in court, the first ending in a hung jury, the second in an acquittal.
In his confession, Kelly stated that he woke up in the middle of the night hearing windmills in his head. And then he went for a walk and ended up here.
It's been 109 years and the murders remain unsolved. Given the home's gruesome history, we're not surprised a few ghosts are around. Number 2. The Winchester Mystery House, Winchester. In 1884, Sarah Winchester, widowed heiress to the Winchester fortune, began constructing one of the strangest houses in the world.
They want me to reconstruct the rooms that they died in. Then they can enter our world.
The trouble is I don't always know who it is I'm speaking with.
Stairs leading to the ceiling, doors opening to nowhere, one giant puzzle. The San Jose mansion has 161 rooms, 47 fireplaces, 6 kitchens, and 3 elevators. Construction continued until her death in 1922.
How, unusual.
While it's not confirmed that the real Sarah reported any ghost sightings, the film shows the many souls who died from Winchester rifles haunting the mansion.
Profiting from such a thing as violence and death. That is a wickedness that follows you like a shadow.
Yes, we might also call those shadows guilt.
One version of the story says that the reason for the bizarre layout was to confuse the ghosts trying to attack her. Whatever the reason, it's a beautifully unusual house that may be home to a slew of angry ghosts.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. The Amityville House. The Amityville Horror 1979 and the Amityville Horror 2005. When the Lutz family moved into this waterfront home at 112 Ocean Avenue in 1975, they had no idea what was in store.
Dude, a guy kills his whole family? Doesn't that bother you?
Well, yeah, sure, but houses don't have memories.
The year before, Ronald DeFeo Jr. went room to room shooting and killing his parents, 2 younger sisters, and 2 younger brothers while they slept. During the 4 weeks the Lutz resided in the home, they claimed the walls oozed green slime, their daughter befriended a demonic entity she called Jody that looked like a red-eyed pig, George woke up every morning at 3:15 a.m., the time the DeFeos were killed, and several other terrifying experiences. The movies may have amped up the story for the big screen, but according to the Lutzes, they had one hell of a time in that house.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.